Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a massive, frankly, game-changing shift happening right now in the EV world. We're talking about how the electric vehicle charging industry is literally breaking free from fixed stations as we head into 2026. So let's just get right into it, because the way we power our cars, it's about to change dramatically.
Seriously, what if the EV charger actually came to you? Imagine a world where range anxiety is completely dead. Done. Why? Because the power actually finds your car, rather than you having to hunt around for an open plug. Now, I know that sounds a bit like science fiction, but looking at the latest industry reports, it is very much becoming our new reality.
We've got a lot of ground to cover today. We're going to look at the current EV charging bottleneck, how smarter grids and AI are stepping up, the rise of charging as a service, and then we'll get into the really cool hardware, power on wheels, autonomous charging robots, and what the ultimate future of mobility looks like. Basically, we're taking a macro to micro journey, starting at global grid software and working our way all the way down to literal robots navigating parking garages.
Let's kick things off with the bottleneck. We all know the universal problem here. Fleets and everyday drivers are adopting EVs at a blistering pace, but finding a reliable, fast, and most importantly, available charger, that remains a massive hurdle for everyone.
Here's the reality of the situation. Yes, 350 kilowatt ultra-fast chargers are finally becoming mainstream. In the EU, for instance, about 20% of ultra-fast chargers can already deliver 350 kilowatts or more. But building brand new fixed capacity, it's incredibly expensive, it's slow, and it is heavily constrained by city planning and grid connection limits. I mean, we simply don't have the space or the time to dig up every single sidewalk. Plus, we've all felt the pain of finally tracking down a charger only to realize it's out of order. The big takeaway here is that the industry desperately needs flexible, off-grid solutions just to keep up with the surging demand.
So, how do we solve this at a macro level? Well, it's all about smarter grids and AI. The industry isn't just throwing more hardware at the problem. They're leaning heavily into major software shifts to optimize the energy grids we already have in place.
What's absolutely fascinating here is how artificial intelligence steps in as the ultimate traffic controller for electricity. According to data from Dreeves, AI-driven energy platforms are actively managing power consumption during those crazy peak periods. By optimizing charging schedules based on demand forecasts and actually enabling dynamic pricing, these AI systems lower operating costs while keeping charger uptime incredibly high. They're essentially preventing the grid from just buckling under the pressure of millions of EVs plugging in all at once.
And that brings us to the magic of bidirectional charging. You've got V2G, which is vehicle to grid, V2X, vehicle to everything, and V2H, vehicle to home. This tech is literally turning EV fleets into virtual power plants. Instead of just pulling energy, these fleets can store it and shoot it back to the grid during peak demand. This unlocks entirely new revenue streams for fleet operators. They can sell energy back to the market, effectively flipping a major operating expense into a legitimate profit center. Huge game changer.
Moving right along to the business side of things, because you might be wondering, how are companies actually affording all this new infrastructure and software? Well, they're fundamentally shifting how they pay for it.
Look, the traditional model is a total headache. You're talking huge upfront capital expenditures, high risk, and then you're stuck with the burden of in-house maintenance. But the new Charging as a Service, or CaaS model, it completely flips this. It offers a turnkey solution that removes all that friction for retailers and fleet operators by outsourcing the ownership, installation, and maintenance to third-party pros. So you shift away from a massive, risky upfront cost to a very predictable operational expense. It lets businesses actually focus on their core operations instead of accidentally having to become experts in EV charger maintenance. Now let's pivot from software and business models to what is arguably the most visually exciting micro-level solution out there: power on wheels. Basically, if the cars can't get to the chargers, well, the chargers are going to go to the cars.
To really give you a sense of the scale of this trend, get this. Be Charged EV just secured $7 million in funding, and roughly $3.2 million of that is earmarked specifically for charging equipment to expand their commercial mobile EV fleet operations across the U.S. Capital is absolutely flooding into mobile charging right now because the market is just screaming for it.
And we can see exactly how this is playing out in the real world today. Over in the Philippines, AC Mobility has launched their Power on Wheels, or POW service. They're actively dispatching mobile 120 kilowatt DC fast chargers directly to corporate offices, fleet depots, and one-off events. But here's the really cool part. They're offering emergency charging assistance. If your EV battery drops under 5%, their mobile tech team literally drives right to you, giving you an emergency 20% top-up right there on the side of the road.
Now, this isn't some small pilot program or a niche service. There are already over 33,000 users registered on AC Mobility's Evro companion app, utilizing these smart ecosystem services. They're using tools like the Station Finder and My Charge Planner. Real people are actively relying on mobile, on-demand power right now.
Okay, but what if we remove the human driver from the mobile charger entirely? Enter autonomous charging robots. Let's look at a fascinating innovation coming out of China designed specifically to solve high-density parking constraints.
Imagine pulling into a super tight, multi-story parking lot where fixed chargers are pretty much non-existent. A company called Aerogy has developed autonomous energy tanks. These mobile robots carry massive battery packs. We're talking up to 215 kilowatt hours. To put that massive number into perspective, a single robot can deliver fast DC charging to 4 to 6 vehicles on a single cycle before it even needs to return to its base.
The whole user experience is beautifully seamless. Step 1, the driver parks and just signals their location using an app. Step 2, the AI robot detaches from its central storage base. Step 3, using LiDAR and 3D vision, it navigates the parking garage directly to your car. And finally, Step 4, a mechanical arm physically connects and charges the vehicle for you. It completely eliminates the need for a human to ever plug in the vehicle, effectively turning every single parking spot into a charging spot. How wild is that?
Now you might be thinking, okay, this sounds incredibly expensive, but actually what's in it for the everyday driver is quite the opposite. Pilot projects in Shanghai have proven this high-tech solution is stunningly cheap, with tariffs sitting around just 0.07 euros. Plus, for the cities themselves, it avoids the absolute nightmare and the massive expense of digging up historical city streets just to lay down high-power cables. It's a win-win.
So what does the future of mobility actually look like? Let's bring all of this together and see how eliminating range anxiety for good is shaping up when we combine these macro and micro innovations. Across all the sources we've looked at today, the main takeaway is absolutely clear. The 2026 EV landscape is going to be incredibly dynamic. We've got AI optimizing our smart grids, we've got charging as a service removing the financial risk for businesses, we have on-demand mobile charging vans out there rescuing stranded drivers, and autonomous robots navigating tight parking garages. And for heavy-duty long-haul fleets, we're even seeing the rise of multi-fuel hybrid hubs offering both ultra-fast EV charging and hydrogen refueling in one spot. Basically, software and mobile hardware are combining forces to make EV ownership completely frictionless.
It really is a fascinating shift to think about. I mean, if the power can intelligently and affordably come directly to where you park, will we ever need to visit a traditional fixed station again? That model might just be obsolete. Thank you so much for joining this explainer, and we hope this leaves you curious about exactly where your next charge is going to come from.